All right, I'm down. Let's push up towards whatever's after gold. Really, let's push towards more gems. That's what I'm about. Let's push towards 751 gems. And on that front, we could rare draft a Gutter Bones for a quick 20. And it's probably the correct play here. This might be a slightly better card. This is probably a slightly better creature. But maybe this is better, even for the deck it's in. If there was a really strong removal spell, I might be inclined to deviate from the rare draft plan here, but I think we're just taking 20 gems and maybe even playing it, and I'll get into draft.
All right, everyone.
What?
Chill.
Oh, I left things on. So you used to get plenty of free memes, because I'm still all out of control. Hexstar Dragon says, how do you feel about limited matchmaking taking rank into account so highly? Well, they brought it back down. As an above 500 player on a personal level, I'm against skill tax, because it taxes me in an event where I'm playing. I'm not against helping less successful players stick with the game. I want to be clear about that. Like I'm talking about that from a personal perspective. Like, it's just weird to me that that it's done in an event that is the main measure of I don't know. When I buy in for dollars and I'm going to get prizes, my expectation as a player is that we're going to be judged on our performance that day. And so when I am judged not only by my performance that day, but on my historical performance, and it's going to be a harder road because of my successful historical performance, that's a turnoff for me. But maybe, I mean, yeah, I don't like it, because I think it should exist. I think you should definitely have rank-based separation in matchmaking, but not in paid events is basically where I'm at. So, oh, looks like Deckmaster is not showing me percentages, so I'm going to restart that. But this is a Gutter Bones pick anyway. We can do that and move on. Rare is missing, no uncommon data. We have a Law Mage's Binding as jumping out as one of the stronger cards in the pack. Collision Colossus is also good. Gateway Sneak does not really play well with Gutter Bones, but we could just take the Sneak and head that direction. But given that, I might just want the Binding if we're going to do that. Now let's see, let's see if the votes are coming in. Yes, now I'm seeing percentages, so that's cool. Carpe Mentum, welcome. How you doing? Sorry I haven't gotten your extension installed and functioning yet. It's just basically I'm getting what I need out of what I have, so I haven't been driven to it, but I hope your work there is going great. Hexstar Dragon, I wanted to mention to you, thank you so much for your donation. Hexstar gave me a donation the other day, but I don't have very good alerts set up for donations, so that they sound like a follow or something. So I might not notice when I get donations right now because I don't have that set up. But I really appreciate that and I wanted to thank you for that. And chat wants the Sneak over the Binding. Draconis, hello. Yeah, okay, fine, I'll take the Sneak. I feel like I've been trying to kind of lean away from the gate strategy because it's so omnipresent or whatever, but it's just it's the best card, really. And it wasn't the best card, but it was monocolored. I think the best card was the Binding, but there's good reasons to take a monocolored card in that spot. And we should be wide open here to taking whatever we want. Like, pretend these cards didn't exist for a second, and what do we take? It's either Depose, Deploy. This has actually fallen pretty far for me. Deploy is just fine. You know, it's fine. I would happily play it in any Azorius, but I thought this felt great, and instead it's been feeling just fine. You know, just fine. But Skewer the Critics, straight up removal, monocolored, or Oligarch are the standout cards to me here. We can also take a Gate. Now, that's what, like I said, without even considering what we've got here. Now, when we look at what we've got, the Gutter Bones makes the Oligarch feel a little more pickable. Gives the Oligarch a bump, and Gateway Sneak gives the Gate a bump. And the lack of really, I mean, Skewer would work fine in a Gutter Bones Rakdos type deck, and Cult Guild Mage is there and might come around. Also, we are at 2 uncommon, so let's check that before we finalize this pick. Cult Guild Mage and Depose Deploy have Tower Defense and Azorius Skyguard. There's no way they took a Tower Defense, so Azorius Skyguard was taken out of the pack to our right, or out of this pack from the right, so that's worth noting. And that makes me kind of want to take the Skewer or the Oligarch. Looks like there's a lot of support for the Skewer, so I'll go there. We'll go down that path. Again, trying to keep to what's open and really listen to what the bots are saying. Here's another Skewer. Of course, the bots always say the Skewer's not that great, and I think it's great. We're going to take a look at uncommons again, and we see that Cry and Macabre Mockery have Incubation Incongruity. Oh, sorry, it's right there. Yeah, I was thinking this was a common. Yeah, we don't have any information here. We got all 3. So probably just another Skewer here, though. But if we still like this Sneak, we could take the Slime Bind too. But Skewer is strong, and here's another one, so let's take it, right? There was a vote for the Goblin Gathering. You know, if that wheels, we can think about heading that direction. But I'm not worried about it from this position. Fireblade Artist to keep down the Rakdos path, or Grasping Thrall, but that kind of makes us toss the 2 Skewers unless we're doing a Mardu kind of deal. Never really run a Mardu deck here because that's kind of in the aggro side, and I don't like 3-color aggro. But oh yeah, Artist Press Bones is a good combo. That's a great point. We should do that. So here's a Goblin Gathering we could take on the spec over, like, what are we taking, a Gate? Like a half-color Gate instead, or something to hedge towards white. But I think, this core makes me think we really just want to try and force Rakdos, or not force Rakdos, but follow the path that Rakdos is laying out here. So yeah, let's take the Gathering and see if that leads to something this time. That would be funny. Never really ended up in a good Gathering deck. Sauroform Hybrid is probably the pick here over the Grudian. The Grudian plays fine in the deck we have going. But and again, we also know that this is not necessarily the sign that it would be against humans. If you were to FNM and got a 7th pick Sauroform Hybrid, you should be running to jump into green because people don't expect it. That shows that people aren't respecting it, but we know the bots don't respect Sauroform Hybrid, so it does not necessarily mean that the bots aren't in green upstream, which is a big difference. But that being said, if we're going to get all the hybrids of the draft, it could end up being worth abandoning Fireblade Artist and Gutter Bones to go down a Gruul path, which also is part of the reward of going towards the Skewer side of things instead of the Orzhov side of things. Like, we could have taken taken Grandma, but we took the more open card that would then give us the flexibility to go into green. And I think with the only opportunity cost being a Grudian makes that worth it. But I'm also looking up what's near high alert. Looks like Shark to Crab and Cry of the Carnarium, or Shark to Crab and Combine Guild Mage. Either way, though, that does show some green. There you go, some Simex being taken upstream. But yeah, we take the hybrid on strength and see where we go from there. So on that front, we could take Gravel Hide, and if we end up in green, that will be the superior pick. If we take Gore Clan Wrecker, though, that can end up in either the Rakdos or the Gruul directions that were being pulled in here. There's also Cry. We could take Cry and, you know, what a non-bow with Goblin Gathering. Not that we're doing that yet. But if we're only Rakdos, Gravelhide is pretty poor, but the ability to threaten a 4/3 for 4 mana is pretty powerful. So again, kind of hedging for the green possibility, we'll take the Goblin, and then our worst case of having to run it in Rakdos as a bad bear is, you know, that's not a terrible floor. It's a bad floor, but it's not a terrible floor. Now this, I was talking about Gutterbones versus Plague White as kind of the question around the first pick, and we got the Plague White back. So probably means we're just going to stick with this direction, and the Sora form will go away. And now that we end up with things like, do we want to transport to top the curve? Do we want a Maka to make sure we're filling the 2s? Like or we're best of 1. Are we playing an Undercity's Embrace in best of 1? Maybe, especially Rakdos, where we don't really care what dies, just as long as it gets out of the way. But Peacetime Fawn is observing, yes, never enough 2-drops. So it looks like Maka. I agree with Maka. Undercity's Embrace is a little too finicky as a removal spell, and pure Rakdos needs all the 2s it can get, regardless of how bad they are. This is assuming we end up with some jugglers here. We have no jugglers yet. And it assumes we end up in a more aggressive Rakdos build. There's certainly enough removal in red and black that I could conceive of a control Rakdos deck coming your way. It just never seems to happen because the best cards... Ooh. Well, we took Skewer the Critics over Grandma in pack 3. Or pick 3, and now it's come all the way back around. But we have Undercity Scavenger. We should probably just take that. I don't think we can get into Orzhov from here, but what a signal. How does Grandma end up pick 11? Yeah, I guess we take the Scavenger. We're too red to turn back now. Here's the Gathering that we'll take just in case this somehow works out. It'd be cool if it does. We're never playing Rebel Reading, so I'll take Vault Progress. Domri's a straight 40, and we're going to take that. And what is it going to cost us? A Grotesque Demise? Wonder if this were a rare that was worth 20, would we still take it over Grotesque Demise? I think for 20, I might just take the Demise, especially for stream entertainment. But for 40, I think we have to take Domri. Yeah, we could splash it too. I'll keep it in there to remember that. If we get the right guild gates, we'd for sure splash that. What do we got here? Oh, and then like nothing. Why couldn't this have been the pack with Domri in it, right? Like we really don't care about anything here. I mean, we might as well take the Arynx, I guess but the Acrobat will wheel. There's no need to take the Acrobat. Unless we feel like what we want to do is take the Acrobat now and one of these cards on the wheel. But with Domri and the possibility of a green splash, I'll take the Arynx here. There's another one of those, and not much for us but the Trumpeter, but the Trumpeter's good enough that we'll take it. Probably wheel the Maka. I'd like this Dagger Caster because we're in the colors to get the Plague Wind combo, but I can't really pass Vindictive Vampire in Rakdos. This is a critical card for the deck. Not a critical card. The critical card is an overstatement. It makes it sound like the deck can't work without it. It's an excellent card in the deck. So I'm going to take it. We could be Gruul, but I still think this core is worth it. But this, here we go. Here's more pushing towards Gruul. But here's the Dead Revels. I don't know. What do you think? Let's see. If we go into Gruul, what are we giving up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks, of which 1, 2, yeah, there's some good stuff in black. Yeah, I don't think the gate was right, that pick. Ghoul is looking pretty open, but just from this direction, it's only pack 2. I don't want to get too crazy over pack 2 signals when you kind of expect to see a push in a different directions, because you cut some stuff. Well, I don't know. Yeah, most are happy with just taking the revels, and this gives me pause and makes me think maybe we are supposed to jump into Gruul, but this is good enough to stick with the plan. Yeah, we can check the print, but what does it matter? I mean, let's go ahead and check. Fine. Maybe understanding what our neighbor to the left is doing will help us in some way here, but Clan Guildmage and Bankrupt in Blood are surrounded by Rhythm of the Wild and Clear the Stage. Not sure which one of those was taken out of this, but probably a Rhythm. So, like, maybe it's not that Gruul is super open, it's just that Gruul had a really good pick out of this pack. So, interesting. Yeah, now it's split 40-60, but I'm going to stick with the Revels. We may come into some regret, but I like where we're headed, and I'm going to take... I like this light up the stage with the low to the ground type deck, but we're just going to take Plague White here. And an Imp for some air presence, or a Rubble Slinger. Neither are particularly good, and the Mockery is not particularly good either, though. Like, we have one in the board already, I think. Oh, no, we didn't. We took something else. Anyway, I still think this is a Imp or Slinger pick. If this were the right kind of gate, if this had green and red, then we'd be all over it, but we're not really looking to splash white for anything we've seen so far. So we'll take the Imp. I like this Guild Gate, and here's a Gathering that if we were really trying to do it, we should really just take it, but Clamor Shaman... Okay, right. Yeah, I think we have to take the Shaman here. Take this white. And indeed, the Acrobat came around as expected, and I like that here. No Juggler, but Acrobat, not the worst. Infiltrator is fine for this type of deck where we're trying to find our way to finish. Like, we don't have Ill-Gotten. This is like your Ill-Gotten Inheritance and Fireblade Artist and these cards that Rakdos needs to close out that final 6 to 10 damage after it faces some opposition. But I really like where we're at with, I mean, we almost have a playable deck, and we are in pack 2. So I'm going to take a Guild Gate here over a fine combat trick. We'll see if we can pick up one of those later, but this is a gate spot. And we seem to be in the right colors. Not sure we're going to play this Rafter Demon, but we'll take it. Wow, we're in the right colors. I like the air presence more than the ground flexibility, I think. They both have some evasion. This hits harder, but this can gain some life and just can at least be something in the air. My problem with the Imp is that so many of the flyers in this format are 3/3s. Like, the Imp gets outclassed in the air so quickly, but it's useful against spirit tokens and the like. So yeah, it's an air chump. So given that, and then we already have one, I'm going to take the Wrecker. It's close, but we'll spread out our medium 4-drops. Mass Manipulation is a straight 20 gems, and the cost is what? Undercity's Embrace, Dead Revels, probably wheel both of these. Gates Ablaze, we're not playing a Gates Ablaze, so this is an easy free 20 gems because we're not playing anything else. we're not playing anything but the Dead Revels, which we'll wheel. Let's see, is this grind free? This is a little more costly. Grinding this breeding pool costs us a recluse or a vampire. But those are also nothing. I mean, or it costs a Savage Smash, really. If we still haven't found a gate to get this splash going on, but if we found the gates, we would play a Savage Smash. That being said, I'm just going to take another 20 gems. Rather than a splash card, a possible splash that we don't even know if we're doing yet. Now, here's a gate that would help that splash. And we have a demise, though, and should probably just take the demise. Straight up removal over support for a solid splash. Domri's good, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you could argue that this is like a pick between Domri and Grotesque Demise. Although it's like, it's not even a pick of Domri. It's like Grotesque Demise versus a significant increase in our chance of playing Domri. And we do have the 2 Goblin Gatherings, and there is a Cavalcade, but we'll take that. We're gonna, if we play this, it's because we're wheeling it. So let's not even worry about that right now. Our question is, are we getting the gate or getting the demise? I'm curious where people land on that. Looks like people are down with the demise, which is where I'm at. Might even wheel that that gate. That would be amazing. Tin Street Dodger also probably wheels, and I don't want to consign here, so we're going to take another Arinx and really hope we can come into this green splash now, because this pack is not going very well. Roustabout's fine. At 3 mana, it's the better choice over an Imp or a Wrecker, but we're not super excited about it at pick 5. We kind of want to get this pick 11, you know? Hey, there's a Juggler, and we're aggro enough that we're going to take the Juggler over this Enforcer. Here's another Roustabout versus another Revels. I think we're going to wheel a second Revels, though. So I'd rather have another Roustabout. Or here's the Guildgate we can take, right? Maybe this is in time to get that splash in. Like, we're probably not playing these, let's be honest, folks. Deck is almost too good to be playing these. Probably not playing this. Although if we splash the green, we are. I hope that's like a 2. Probably not playing this or this with how things are going here. Probably not playing this. Yeah, let's try for the green splash. Ill-Gotten Inheritance is a final card from the last new pack we'll see. Is a nice pickup. There's the Revels we planned on wheeling, and we get to see if we get super lucky and see the Gruul Guildgate coming up here. I don't know if it's this pack or the one after. Obviously not this one then, but I think the next pack could potentially have a Gruul Gate. We will go ahead and take this Vampire, though. It's playable. Roustabout. See, this is where I want to get Roustabouts. Unfortunately, it looks like we've missed out on the Gruul Gate, and we'll have to decide on our fortitude for splashing something with only 1 gate as support. The presence of 1 Rakdos Gate does help in the sense that we can get away. You know, it's a little easier to put a forest into the deck since we have a on-color gate. And I think if we do splash, it would be, at this point, for just Domri, and then maybe put in 1 forest, and that the two source splash for a Planeswalker will be worth it. Maybe. Dodger. Our curve is super low by design. Kind of want this there even. So I think we should skip the Consign to the Pit and take the Dodger. 'Cause Wow. Yeah, so get to get the Snap 100. Like, that's like a free win. Thank you, WotC, for introducing Gem Grind to Limited. Yeah, I don't know if we want to splat. Let's start by assuming we are not into the green and are just trying to be a lowdown red-black beast. Then what do we look like? Maybe we run an imp there and possibly the scavenger. And then like 6. Oh, wait. 12. Oh, yeah, we're way too low on lands now because I cut a bunch of lands. So we have more black, so we want like this as our mana base, and then 2 cuts, and we're looking at 19-7. So if we're cutting from here, we hope these are 1s. Vampire, scavenger, carrion imp, and probably 1 Dead Revels goes. Not even probably, yeah, for sure 1 Dead Revels goes, and then it's probably 2, but you could make an argument for just 1. And then probably cutting 1 of these, though. We could also cut a wrecker. You could diversify with like 1 wrecker and 1. You could do something like this. Have a little of everything at 4. Yeah, we were clearly in the right seat, I think. We just missed packs with Blade Jugglers, right? I think we were going to get every Blade Juggler within reason near us, and there just weren't any. So, what is this? This is... because that's what you call a group of whites, is a plague. Except you have to, did I spell it? Spelling it right would be good. I'm a terrible speller. If it weren't for that squiggly red line. Oh my goodness, I don't know how I'd live without the squiggly red line. And right-clicking on it. Any other changes? If we thought 2s were super important, we can bring in 2 1s. With effectively no rules text. We only have the 1. There's an art, you know, maybe we should be doing this and like this. Peacetime thinks the splash is worth it. Well, if we play any gravel hides, I kind of think, what if we did this? Okay, so now let's look at the other possibility where we take some of these cards we're less impressed by out. We do something like that, and we run Domri. So like, go, oh, didn't I cut? Wait. Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, yeah. And then, like, the Acrobat could go. And basically, like, then cut 1 creature from here is another option. Yeah, TBM, I don't know if that list of things you just described, though, is actually worth a card. And part of it is that in what way are we a spectacle deck? We're a spectacle deck because we have one Blade Juggler, one Spike Wheel Acrobat, two Dead Revels, Skewers. I mean, I just don't feel like turning on Spectacle is the problem here, or is something we need to address. And I think the impact this card has, and the fact that it doesn't do the trick you want of turning on a turn 3 Blade Juggler, because you have to activate it in order to get it past their inevitable blocker. So, Draconis, I don't necessarily agree that Maka is for sure worse than Tin Street Dodger. Like, I think that's not a true statement. I'm not saying that we can't run it. I'm saying the comparison points I'm hearing I disagree with. Thank you, TBM. Appreciate the sub. But fine, if you want, yeah, we can run it. But I do not think it is the all-star that some of you are making it out to be. I find, like a lot of 1-drops, let's be clear, it costs 1 mana, so my expectations of 1-drops are low, and this guy slightly clears it for me. But I haven't found it to be impactful enough. It can be part of one of those weak hands where you're like, okay, well, I've got a Tin Street Dodger and a Skewer the Critics and a Roustabout and 4 lands. And it's like, ugh, that's where it's like, those are the hands where I just feel like this Dodger is just not going to be impactful enough. This looks... What do you think about the green, though? That's where we're really at. This approach lets these Gravel Hides come in and be significantly better. And Domri can win some games. And we get to stay like a pretty tight package. And the only blank if we don't get our green is Domri. I think I like the power bump here, but then we have to figure out a cut. We're at 18 creatures, but we kind of like that. Still, it might be a creature, because what are we going to do? Cut Skewer. This maybe was where we cut the Scavenger. Well, people in chat seem to want to run the Dodger, so I was willing to give it a try. But maybe that's where we overrule and I just cut it here. A lot of people valuing Dodger over Maka, and I guess that's how I see it, is like I see this as slightly worse than a 2/2 for 2. Which is completely playable in this deck, you know. Yeah, let's cut the Scavenger. We were keeping the Scavenger because of the late game impact it can have, but that's exactly what Domri is trying to bring to the table, and it keeps our 4s. Oh, we hope those are 2s. So really, and it supports this low curve we've got going, where we're really trying to top almost at 3 with just a couple of 4s. Some want to see 3 sources of green. A third of the time, we will find Domri before we find a source of green. 2/3 of the time, we'll find a source of green before we find Domri. In the third of the time that we find Domri before we find green, we will further have a chance of finding green before the game ends and still resolving the Domri. So adding a forest takes that whole spiel and makes it, you know, we're only 25% to find Domri before green instead of 33%. I kind of like what Fawn is saying, that if you really want to support Domri with more green, we do it by replacing Tin Street Dodger with a forest and moving on. but I'm willing to run it this way. Let's start here. And I think the 1/3 of the time that Domri shows up before green is going to be worth that cost for the benefit of when we get there with him. And I'm because we're low to the ground aggro, I really don't want to disrupt my ability to get going early with further color reductions in our Rakdos colors. So that's what I'm thinking. Let's see how it goes. I do like being able to run the gravel hides with a pump source. I think that adds an element of 4-dropness to this deck that is really good. Like, it's great. Like, this isn't active yet, but it's gonna be part of this aggressive curve, and eventually we'll find the green to have this have some late presence. No main deck manipulation. Oh well. Let's see. Actually, do we want the gate, or do we just want to hit with the gutter bones? Let's start with the gutter bones. Let's go gutter bones into goblin, and we may miss the roustabout on 3 with this line, but there we go. The reason I was willing to do it is because, hey, we find any basic land, and we're going to still get roustabout on 3. So let's try it. Oh, thank you. I will change the scene shortly. Always appreciate that reminder. For some reason, I can't seem to remember to get from draft mode to battle view. So much appreciated. I'm thinking what happens from here is we go roustabout, attack, they trade off for the gravel hide. We play the guild gate, and then the turn after that, they play some other card that hopefully can just trade with something we can attack with. And we attack. Ooh, and then there's Clamor Shaman to make things interesting. We're going to start with the roustabout here per plan. We can do that after we attack, though. Obviously don't care about any blocks here, with Dead Revels in hand and an aggro plan. Mainly what I really hate is this message about Deckmaster and drafting sitting up on the battlefield is a distraction. It's just it's not good. So I could Shaman here and get in with everything, but the Gutter Bones is basically a free attack anyway, but not really. I don't really want to spend the time this turn to get it back, so I'm just going to send the roustabout, and then we will make a big Clamor Shaman. Although we could attack with it, like, you know... They block it and we shaman, then next turn we get it and something else back. It's not worth it. It's just taking the long way around for the only reason it'd be worth it is if Oppo decided not to block with block the Gutter Bones, and I think they probably would not if the Gutter Bones didn't have built-in recursion. You know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that it can come back is what makes Oppo block there, so I just decided, yeah, and that's a good point, DS Nordic. That's one thing I was thinking of, is that Clamor Shaman's power and toughness don't matter all that much, but they can. In this case, it didn't because Oppo played a 2-1, but for example, if they had played a 2-2, it actually suddenly does make a pretty big difference. All right, we've hit our 1/3 where we find Domri before we find green. And so we're taking that hit. We've basically mulliganed here and are looking to make that not matter. And with the Dead Revels, though, we're just going to swing away, and the Aeromunculus can't block. Oppo is almost compelled to block with the Savant. It's not the block I was expecting, but it's a good one because it. Well, I guess we still have a play to make, but I'm gonna get these two back, and we get to recast the Roustabout. I was thinking I couldn't recast the Roustabout, but we can, so it didn't really matter which way they went with it. We're gonna add more threats. So, okay, they found a Brush Strider. And there you go. Well, so now we're happy that we made a 2/2, because the Strider can't just eat the Shaman, and we get to still swing away with everything. Yeah, Vampire was a great draw. Makes their blocking, like, whatever. Trade, don't care. Eat some damage. But we are slowing down a bit here. However, basically Gutter Bones is inevitability, because if they can't disrupt these two cards, we just get to send in Gutter Bones, and when it dies, they trigger Spectacle, and we bring it back. What do you mean, take this turn off? We don't have... I feel like this might get countered, but I think they're going to go for the pump here. Ah, I see. Yeah, that's the cool synergy. Vamp plus Gutter Bones is inevitability. Yeah, I mean, that sets us back. I guess if we don't draw a land, that sets us back. Yeah, it doesn't allow us to activate the Trumpeter, but if that's our opponent's best play, then that's great news for us. And we did find our Forest, and we can cast our Domri. I don't think we need to here. We're going to stick with the Vampire plan, but just keeping an eye on this splash and what it represents. So we send in here, add the Goblin, and maybe Domri is more necessary because they did find a way to break up our combo. Or not. Sometimes you just burn their face. Oh, and I didn't update my record, of course. Can't ever trust my record. How's everything else look? Everything else is correct. Some baseball talk in the chat, and since we're between games, maybe I'll do this now so I don't forget. Where's Discord? I'm going to. Hey, Scrytop, thank you so much for. I would like to play Magic. looks good. Yeah, to do a good, you can set up a good fantasy anything if you just come up with the scoring system. We'll go roustabout here over the infiltrator. Oppo showing blue and 2 blue mana, so counterspell was possible there. Well, Oppo not doing anything is fishy. I don't believe that turn 3 Espertron with 7 cards in hand results in no actions, but we'll make him do something. Okay. Can go with the infiltrator here and try for a shaman next turn. Yeah, duelist would have been okay though. There's nothing a duelist could really do to hurt us with that attack. Besides, yeah, so it felt fine. Happy for Oppo to take that turn off. And again, yeah, I'm going to make it 2-power Clamor Shaman since there's nothing to prevent from blocking here anyway. And we will certainly decline for that. Yeah, pulling that Mortify for a Roustabout is good for us. But, you know, a lot of our creatures are interchangeable whatevers, so Oppo's got to do something. Interesting, they've drawn a ton of cards, so really trying to close this out before their card advantage takes over. Funny to draw this right after having something tethered and with a Revels, so we kind of need it. We need it anyway. Nothing to Revels for now, though. I mean, obviously we have one thing we can Revel for now, but we would not Revels before doing the play we're talking about, which is hurling Infiltrator at their face and then getting it back. 6 mana, a lot. Oppo has many options, I'm sure, with a fistful of cards and all the mana they could possibly want. Yeah, if this is CTM, I say bring it. How about just dead? Suck it, CTM. Well, we stopped them from turning the corner. They were going to turn the corner and good if we didn't win there or the turn after, I think. Yeah, and if they had Acuity, that would have been a lot rougher for us, for sure. CTM is not, I don't know, is it confusing? It's just, it's tight. You know, you got your, it's really tough to win games of limited without creature-based board control, right? And so I think for the CTM to work, the spells you're casting really need to be about drawing cards and clearing the board and controlling the board, because if you're not controlling the board and then drawing cards to eke out an advantage there, you're just going to fall behind like they did against us right there. Yeah, it's definitely unintuitive. And they're long, yeah, they're very long games. Whew. Let's jump back in, though. Jay says, as someone outside the game, hit the ball, or outside the country, woo, hit the ball. But, you know, in other words, I don't... I would make this argument to you, though. If you love games and statistics and numbers, but don't give a crap about baseball, you might still want to try Team Draft, because I promise you, you can play it without knowing anything about baseball. And if you want to give it a try, I will show you how. Like the resources you can get to make completely reasonable picks, knowing absolutely nothing about the game, is plentiful. Yeah, this is a sweet hand. Revels for some extra sauce. And Oppo doing nothing before 3 is great also, for us being on the play. Now, I think the play here is Vampire Attack, and we'll take the trade for either one of these. Especially with Dead Revels. And then if we draw a basic land, we get Shaman plus Gravelhide, or Shaman plus Dead Revels, depending on how it goes. With them not playing a creature that needs Shamaning, we'll go ahead and just Gravelhide and Plague White on this one. Anything... Let's see. Fairy Duelist doesn't punish the Vampire. Just making sure we're not putting the Vampire unnecessarily at risk, and I don't think we are. I don't think there's anything in black-blue that makes that riskier for the Vamp. Cry would be real bad for us, but we don't see it too much. Although this appears to be kind of control-y, but no, they're done. Yeah, we're getting some good draws with Rakdos here, and Oppos are not putting up a defense in time. Those two things combined are going to make a lot of wins if they keep happening. Go for it, Mike. No green yet, but we'll keep this. We keep getting these consistent draws because our deck is a bunch of garbage 2s and garbage 3s. So what do you know? We keep getting them both. But get enough garbage 2s and garbage 3s and it adds up to an attack. I like that we have at least Gravelhide plus Guildgate on 4. Might even have Gravelhide, Guildgate, and Skewer. No, we won't. We only have one red. Oh well. We could, to that end, go with Guildgate, Gravelhide here, and then Swamp Domri for turn 4. And that would give Domri some protection and turn 4 action. Yeah, let's do that. Let's at least be able to threaten a turn 4 a turn 4 Planeswalker. And if they've got Fairy Duelist here, it does not 0 for 1 the Maka, so we can swing away confidently. And if they want to quench a goblin, go for it. Please quench. Actually, you know, I'd like to resolve them for them to do nothing, but if they wanted to quench it, go for it. All right, that's going to ramp them past us, but hopefully we still get a safe Domri here. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking about. Maybe deciding whether that was worth their quench, or whether they wanted to just counter that. And so I think we will play around quench here. All of their pattern, if they don't do anything else here, all of their patterns would be suggestive of quench, everything that we saw. So at least we get to threaten the pump here and offer the trade. And we're only going to offer them the roustabout here. It's too quenchy smelling to not... I almost want to just pass the turn and not even give them the roustabout. But by getting the quench out now, we probably set up Domri reasonably, and then we even have an extra red for Skewer if we can get in with the Gravelhide. We'll see. I'm expecting this to get countered here, though. Huh. Discipline or a misread on the quench? Okay, good times ahead. So we get to attack. And no haste from green-blue as well. Well, there's that big green hasty. I guess Riot can always have haste, so that's not true to say green, no haste green in this set. We can probably... So I'm actually going to be a little conservative in the name of protecting our Planeswalker, and I'm only going to attack with the Roustabout. And what this does is we're guaranteed, like, either they trade or we get Spectacle and Skewer it. But I really like having a safety goblin back. Worth it to Skewer, then keep the minion, I'm not sure how we would skewer. We had to give them the choice. I'm not going to skewer for 3. So I needed to skewer for 1, which means they needed to be damaged first, which means they needed to be attacked first. So, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and look for creatures. Oh, you want to go for ultimate? No, I want to go for... Oh, funny. I didn't think about that. Well, we'll get Plague White. Oh, we get 2. Never mind. Sweet. I forgot what Domri does. I think we can go for it for now. I like getting some extra creatures going as the first activation, but now I like piling it on. We hasting any of this? Probably hasting the Gutter Bones because our plan with it is mainly to just keep recycling it anyway. So let's try this with haste. Oh no, this is not going to get haste. I haven't done this part. I got to go like this first. And I couldn't have done it anyway. I can do it with the white because I can spend the red or green on the colorless part.
You should really quit before you get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah, Bone Zensor's tapped too, so it would be a useless haste. I got it all together here today, folks. All together. I don't want to read cards. That's what I have chat for. Double Skewer here is super powerful. They need to come up with a big play here. I think we're just going to win, especially if we come up with a small creature off the top that we can haste in. Hasty creature, Double Skewer is going to end it, barring significant plays from Oppo. Right on, Jag. Thank you. Excuse me. Yeah, that's actually great for us. Like, we just don't care. You can... I think that's just game. Yeah, that's just game. You got Domri, my friend, but you did.
Yeah, doesn't always work out how you want.
Ain't that the truth? We can go, like, 1, 2, 3, 4... Draconis says, my thinking with the skewer the minion early was not unlike playing mono red, thinking the minion represent more damage long term. Ah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, basically just, for me, I did not want to spend 3 mana on a skewer when we had Domri, you know, that we were trying to get out. Yeah. Well, it's been an easy game so far, but our draws have really been great, and it's easy to get really tilted when the mana gods are not with you, and it's also easy to brush it off and not really pay attention or call it out when you're getting extremely lucky with your openers. And our first 4 openers have all been amazing. We've had 4 amazing openers into, well, I guess we had to mulligan once, right? But then we got a really great keep. But in general, like, yeah, the starts have just been fantastic. So as long as we keep getting starts like this, we're going to be hard to beat. But the nice thing, we just have these replaceable 2s and 3s that just are whatever we need them to be there. Oh, Gutterbones, you're a little late, bud. Can even play it now, but we'll go ahead and stick with the Maca plan. We have Gutterbones as a backup next turn if we don't find a basic land. All right, we got lucky. Found our untapped land for this situation. Juggle while you can is always good advice. Never saying always is always good advice. Looks like they might get it right back, but we're going to let them have it. Nope, Oligarch. All right. Take the Gutterbones. Take the Gutterbones. Almost doesn't matter. If you don't take anything, you take anything but the Dead Revels, and I just get that plus whatever else back. That's what I would have picked. I'm going to go ahead and play the untapped so we can get both of these going. And obviously we'll trade with whatever they want and get it back along with the vampire. Wow, I can't believe they traded with the juggler knowing what was in my hand. But thanks. Oh, no 2 black. So without 2 black, maybe I guess we just roustabout here and play the tap land. Because the other option is to, yeah, we don't want to dead revels here either. So yeah, we could use some extra black, but we'll do this and call that a reasonable turn. Jag, I was going to say, I was impressed that you were hanging out with us so early, but I'm sorry to hear of the circumstances of your participation in our stream today. Well, they just keep getting to make gutter bones again and again, but I don't think it matters too much. We're going to have to... This turn we get probably Gravelhide and the Dead Revels. But I don't see how we stop attacking here. We win this game by attacking, attacking, attacking. And getting back Vamp and Jugs, I think. Oh, hang in there, Queen. Take care of yourselves, people. Now, at least, if they want to spend 3 mana doing the Gutter Bones thing, it enters tapped, so they don't even get the block this turn, you know? So they're spending a lot to... 3 mana to block every other turn isn't that great. And now we have a Demise that we can come back with. And here, are we willing to trade the Gravelhide? Like... We should play the Vampire if we're willing to trade the Hide off. If we're not, we attack in, being willing to pump it up. But they probably don't block if we leave Threat of Activation. So I'm going to go ahead and threaten the pump. And if they call our bluff and actually block the Goblin, then I'm going to follow through and we'll do Gutter Bones plus Activation. But yeah, I'm surprised they did that, but okay. Oops, let's not, no. Maybe they have removal? No? That's got trick. I'm fine with that. Especially with the Demise to undermine this Gutter Bones plan. Although we might even make them execute it one more time. I don't really care about any of these cards very much. I also care about 6 mana spent on my 2. And here, though, we're gonna go Vindictive and set up our Inevitability combo again. They're gonna trade Maka for their Gutter Bones. That's cool. Grandma's a pretty good Revel, but again, the Gutter Bones Vampire combo doesn't really care. I mean, I could demise the Oligarch. If we don't, we got our bones in, we get them for 1, we spend, yeah, we don't have the black mana to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and demise. Now maybe we go ahead and juggle here. Yeah, exile Grandma isn't bad. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Let's exile Grandma and get in for 4. I think if we were operating on just 2 black mana here, we would have already closed this out. But I like that play. That's pretty good from Oppo. All right, second swamp, fantastic. We're gonna get everything this time, or everything we want. Not attacking the vampire though. It's about 50-50. We want lots of black, but we need the red too. There's so much red that you can't just be like, oh, we're going to be heavy black. You know, it's just variance. Bones and dodge. Now we just need them to miss. Thank you. Keep missing, Oppo. Keep missing. Because I wanted, I don't know, I wanted to get the bones cycle going. It's kind of 3 damage. It's very similar. I don't think there's that much difference to our pressure between those 2 plays. More black. All right. Still don't want to send the vampire, and we do want to dodge here with the dodger. Gutter Bones is going to do its thing here, probably. Well, maybe the... Yeah, I guess they don't care up there. I don't either. Just trying to race this inheritance more than anything. Got a pretty good board for that. We'll see if it... Alright, they're doing the Gutter Bones play. When they start there, that is probably pretty good news. It means they weren't super enamored with their draw such that that was the snap play or anything. But looks like it is something. What is it going to be? Alright. More difficulties staying ahead of this darn inheritance. How about a draw for us, please? Action. Action draw, please. That's what I get for asking for action. The old 16 land aggro. But like I said, we've had great draws this run so far, so getting a little bit stuck right now is whatever. Unfortunately, can't send in the roustabout, really. Yeah, 3/4 is just the perfect size. I'll leave the mountain as subterfuge. Dead Revels would be a great draw. What do we got? We got Skewer. I wouldn't mind a Skewer. Domri. Our Own Inheritance would be great. Ah, they're attacking. All right, well, what do we need to skewer the most here? Maybe just Oppo. Let's see, if we send in with everything, probably 2 of our things die, and so we get a total of, and they block like, let's say they block the 2 biggest things. We get in for 3, and then they take 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only see 8 with that play. We're just trying to figure out if we're using Skewer to control the board or close it out to their face somehow. I guess it starts with an attack no matter what, because we're not using Skewer on the Bell Haunt now. But if we're going to use the Skewer on the Bell Haunt, then it starts with an attack. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Dodger because I don't want them to trade the Gutter Bones for it. There's no need to do that. So, this is a guaranteed 1. Does it do itself? Another creature you control dies. So it does not affect the vampire herself. It's a her, right? Looks like a her. Yeah, I think we skewer the Haunt. And that allows us to... They have to kind of stop attacking with the Imp at that point. Unless they draw well. I mean, they could draw well and keep attacking. Okay, they got some Flood. And we do too. Darn it. So if we swing and connect for 4, great. They go to 3. They untap and go to 4. And we go to 9. And they swing in for 4 and we're not. And we go to 5. And then they activate Inheritance and we go to 1. So we're not dead on the crackback if we swing away here. But it's not... Peacetime says we can't. Did I do the math wrong? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I see them getting us to 1 here, so I think we actually can attack. You think we can't afford it? Well, what else are we doing? I mean, yes, we have to try and win the next turn there, but, like, I mean, is our plan to sit back here or just send in the gutter bones? I guess we can stay back and just send in the gutter bones so that their gutter bones can't connect for 2. It almost feels like the same play, though, and puts us in a similar situation. Thank you. So I'm going to go for the win here. Like, I think we're in trouble. And I'm going to go ahead and risk going to 1 here. And see if we can get through on the final turn. That's obviously rough and puts us in a spot like, how can we get out of this now? Inheritance? Yeah, if we draw inheritance, I think we win. Darn it. Oh. Inheritance is a win because we get to cast it and sack it after attacking for 2. Well, we've gotten excellent draws throughout this event, and this aggro deck could not withstand that kind of flooding. Turns out this is still Magic. I'm going to keep reminding on this today, if you're showing up late, if you have any interest in participating in a really low maintenance, pretty easy fantasy baseball league, there's information about it in the Discord. You can go check that out. 5-2 split, and our first play is a 3. I'm going to mulligan this, actually. This looks much better. And I'm going to... Oh, with the swamp on top, we can even lead with the swamp and go gutter bones into white. It doesn't have... it's close. We can go look at the gem EV, but honestly, at my win percentage, it's razor thin, which has the better gem EV, so I just generally throw it to a vote and let the people decide. Oh, please give me a mountain. How about a mountain? I'll be very specific and ask for a mountain off the top. Not quite what we asked for, but this is a nice play anyway. Feel the Sunda. So we attack with everything, lose the Plague White, get in 7, and drop another creature. That seems fine. We'll attack with everything. If they want to trade Acrobat for Shaman, even better, but I'm not expecting that gift. Oh my god, Plague White was blocked. Hey everybody, Plague White was blocked! Just 3 more damage. How about a skewer off the top? We'll just take a skewer off the top. That's a bold agenda, Oppo. You must have untap, add a counter. That's the only reason I could think you would attack here. It doesn't change our attacks, that we're expecting that. They're going to get a 6/6 that can eat the Acrobat, and the 2/3 can eat the Maca. Then they take 2 and go to 1, and then we're just like this ill-gotten inheritance away from winning, and we still get to Dead Revels what they eat. So I think it's worth getting them to 1. We can also, if they kill the Gutter Bones, just get the Gutter Bones back. We can actually get the Feral Maca. We're not actually casting the Spike Wheel Acrobat next turn. This might be more relevant if we get to 4 mana and have the two play. Yeah, we don't want to let Sunder Shaman connect and kill our win condition, but we really just need a basic land here, and we can try and end this game. There's a basic land. Now, do we try and end this game? Because if we just drop the IGI, we lose it to a single removal spell. So what we're going to do instead, actually, is play 2 creatures here. And now we're going to hold back. They're going to have to hold back out of fear of the crackback. And then I will feel much better about this inheritance coming down. Is there life gain in green? That is... Yeah, there's the Strider. I guess they could Strider. But even then, this is still going to be pretty inevitable. All right, we're just going to try it now. See if we can get there with this army of tinies. And note that the Maca play actually worked out. Like, it seemed like this was the better creature to get, but I went with the lower cost to support exactly what just happened. Yeah, Roustabout is pretty lethal also, given its attack. Its block becomes blocked trigger. You can't distract me with your haste. Eyes are on the prize. Sure. Not that we can play around, you know. If they can give Shaman trample, we don't even have the toughness to prevent it. So all right. We just need 1 creature, and the Vindictive Vampire gets us there. Ouch. That does not feel like a game we were supposed to lose, but I'm not sure what we're supposed to do differently there. I mean, I guess maybe the roustabout was the play. Maybe we were just like, look, roustabout also wins the game with an attack. Yeah, maybe we were too focused on the IGI plan when roustabout was the correct play. Yeah, I could have held one creature back. And actually, that still wouldn't have done it, right? With the way the stack works. Let's say I'd held a creature back, because then we have our creature on defense for their follow-up turn, but they just attack in, and they get us to 0, and our creature dies, and the drain goes on the stack, but we're already at 0, right? So I don't think even holding a creature back solves the problem. What the play we could have done differently was to play the creature, which, while technically more vulnerable than an enchantment in the abstract, was less vulnerable to destruction in that board state than just the actual creature was. Yeah, I suppose if we left one back, then we get to crash in that way. Yeah. So I'm going to put that one on me. I think I locked into a plan and failed to consider what trample tricks could do to that plan. And if we had stopped to consider Colossus more carefully, I think we do play that turn out a little differently. So I think there was a win there that we just loosened up a little bit on the end and lost control of. Yeah, the creature play is better knowing that, in hindsight, but the thing is we didn't question it. We didn't say, what happens if they have trample here, and then how should we block in that instance? Yeah, we're not going to beat ourselves up or lose any sleep over a game of Magic, but if we can take a second and ask ourselves what happened, maybe I can do something that makes me less likely to make that mistake the next time. Got lucky with a third land here, and with no good blocks from Oppo, we don't need to consider the 1/1 Shaman here, and can instead just take the Juggler. Even the land. Although we are, again, stuck on a single black source, so we need to keep that in mind as we sequence things out. Now what? Now I think we send in the white. After playing the vampire, we take a turn off here and then set up for some cool stuff coming up. Oppo still has no blocks on the all-star white. I think we've seen things like this. We saw, like, even last set, the attack -2, -0 trigger that overperformed when we saw it. Although that was an attack trigger, this is a block trigger, so... Huh. Yeah, maybe the juggler is worth it. What else are we going to do with it, after all? Like, what else is the juggler going to do besides trade for Grandma in this game? And if that's the case, why not do it here? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, we have the Revels to eventually get it back and stuff. No, I wouldn't see him sacking the... I mean, I'd trade for the dog, too, or whatever, but I didn't see him sacking the doggy because they were happy to get the spirit out of it. But now I want to go... We get to attack with the white again. Let's go Roustabout. And now trying to decide if we want to skewer anything. Probably skewer the Grandma even. Although we can make Grandma not block. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we hold Skewer for now. We can use it next turn even. If we don't draw anything else, we can Clamor Shaman main phase Skewer anyway. So let's get more info. Continuing to send at the Vampire continues to represent something like Blade Brand, but in this case with the Skewer and the Clamor, the same logic that held last turn of, like, what is this juggler going to do besides trade with a Grandma doesn't hold now that there's only one Grandma. It held when there were two. So we're just going to say no blocks here. And we're going to suggest that Grandma sit this one out. You can see the problem though, like... Actually, let's start with a Skewer and see what they do with that. I am going to Skewer Grandma now. I skewered Grandma because I would rather have Grandma dead than Watchdog, actually, but I also figured they would do that as well, so... And now it's... And I did it that way because now it's safe to haste the Shaman. And I'm going to say that had a good effect. That's pretty funny, Wujo, but I've known some grandmas that, and some dogs where that might not actually be out of place. All right, so you got some action, you say. Well, we're going to make one of those not block, and then Vampire has good attacks if we make the 2/3 not block, and we'll trade with everything else. Roustabout trades with Grandma here, but deals a point on the way out. Or Grandma has to take out the Shaman and spend a turn doing that. So I think this is still attack with everything. And I didn't really do the math, but it looks like we win. Spoken like a Magic pro. Mirari Conjecture. I actually wanted that rare. That's cool. Whenever I like these sets where I'm not going back that much, I actually get excited about the individual card rewards that that give me old rares I want. And if you're a free-to-play player, I think your challenge with, if you're a free-to-play player looking to mostly draft, your challenge is to avoid the temptation of crafting older sets. The tough thing of starting on Arena really is that, let's say you came into Arena today, and what is there, six sets in Standard? Right? 6, is that right? 5, 6 or 7? Anyway, just that there's constructed decks that use Mirari's Conjecture that are fun and that I like, that I wanted to try. And specifically, there was maybe it was one of the Drake decks or something used it. So if you're a free-to-play player, it's really tough to get started on Arena because you have, innumerable sets that you're trying to draw from and build towards. And I think the best play for someone looking to spend a long time on an Arena, stick with it for the foreseeable future, and wants to be low budget and wants to do a lot of drafting, I think what you want to do is focus all of your wildcard crafting on the set you're on forward, so that as you move forward with the Magic world, eventually you're going to catch up and suddenly you're going to have decks that are tier 1 standard ready very quickly out of the gate with a new set. But your early days here are going to be about building up, having a lot of fun with drafting and building up your collections in the currently drafted set, and then move forward. And Elle says, the tough thing for me right now is that I have to grind Constructed if I want to draft anymore. And yeah, if you actually don't like playing Constructed, then Arena is just going to come up a little short for you if you're strapped for cash and really don't like to play Constructed. Then maybe this isn't the platform for you, but it's still pretty cheap. One thing you're not supposed to do, you're not allowed to do this, so don't do it because it's against the terms of service. But what you wouldn't want to do because it's against the terms of service is share your account with somebody who does like to play that kind of Chandelar style of Constructed, because Constructed grinding when you're in free-to-play is about making the best of what you're picking up along the way. And for some people, that's not a grind in the sense that it's actually fun Magic. So maybe if you had a friend who was totally into steadily and slowly building up cards and decks through fairly matched casual play, that would be a person that would be a good partner if it were legal to share accounts, which it is not. So, of course, you're not going to do that. And I like Constructed enough that I'm off air. I'll happily play a few games of Constructed to grind the wins of the day, No, making new accounts over and over again is not against the terms of service. We were like 4-0. We're still doing all right. And we're 1 win away now from profit. Let's go get profit. Actually, we're not. We made profit because we ground 100 gems out of the draft, and we got 650 already. So we're already break even. Go free to play account. Well, the problem with Constructed is that your decks suck, and then that part of grinding is real unfun. Well, that's on Wizards, but I find the matchmaking to be pretty good in that regard. Are you playing... I mean, if you're playing ranked, yeah, but if you're just playing... I mean, let's go... I'll go prove the point. We will have to send this back. That hand was a disaster if we didn't find black instantly, so I did not feel like it was a keep. We'll go with the white. DJ says, even if you're strapped for cash, just rolling the $5 welcome bundle on new accounts forever is some damn cheap magic. And that is absolutely true. For some, even that $5 is too much compared to the free time they have to do some grinding. But I generally agree, yeah, it's a pretty low-cost way to go about it. Yeah, that seems about right. East of 84. I'm not sure what your win percentage is, but if you're in the 50 to 60 range, somewhere in the above 50% range, I think you're going to be able to grind your way to about 3-4 drafts a week. What are we playing here? We are, I guess, playing another Plague White. Good card, Plague White. Ah, yes. Well, for Kotaru and others, in the constructed side of things, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to stick to one account and build it up. Really, you know, we're kind of in an interesting spot here with this stream in terms of the way I'm approaching it. I'm keeping this free-to-play account separate from my paid account, so almost as science, so that we can see what this account that has only ever had $5 put into it really looks like, plays like, all that stuff. I'm going to go Trumpeter here over Demise or Bones. And, yeah. Hold on, let's see. But if you're, yeah, if you don't, like, we'll take a look. We'll go into the casual play queue. I find that the casual play queue tends to have really appropriate matchups. It depends on what cards you have. Logistics Man. Logistics is asking about upgrading the original Sapperling deck. We can almost do that as an object lesson, except I think that we'll load up my third account, which is the least resourced in terms of cards, and then see what we can learn from that. All right. Well. White still has good attacks. Maybe Jag. We can check that out. How about a basic land for the Vampire? Man. Now it's the only thing that we can really attack with. Yeah, they're just trying to get us in the air now. Fair enough. But if we can land this vampire, we can still just do a lot of draining. We just need to get that land. Double drill bit. Double drill bit. And of course, like, I didn't even have to look up to know that we got the basic land as soon as that drill bit landed. I knew for sure we would get there. There's like, why would we not get a basic land that we need in that spot? I think we're going to lose 3 times with this deck. All 3 times just due to the mana issues of Magic. This deck has been spectacular. It's been hyper consistent. The only thing that's gotten in its way is mulligans and flutter screw. It is a cruel mistress in Magic, especially. We got our buy-in back, but man, just... I would trade one of those amazing draws that won no problem for just two solid ones, because I think this deck is just good if you can get some solid draws. We're not... Are we dead? I don't think we're dead. We got blocks on the Fire Wheeler here. Maybe we just block the Trumpeter, though. No, I think we got to go Fire Wheeler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, should do that. Okay, we'll do that. I was trying to keep the Trumpeter for potential survival, but I guess we don't have that. We don't have that luxury. Do it this way. Saddest skewer. But let's not die, shall we? Well, mixed results with Domri. He was pretty useful that one game, but overall was a mulligan a lot for us. two sources. You know, we did that math of the 33% chance of having Domri and no green. That came to pass this time. Yeah. Trying to be chin up. I always feel like I come to these end screens with the claim prize button lit and I'm all sad because most of the time you're doing it having just lost, right? But gotta have the chin up. You can't win every Magic game. The deck was fine, but not the best ever. It was good to see that we only really lost, though, to those types of mana issues. It shows we're drafting well and playing well, and we just took what came from the variants, and the variants in this case gave us 5 wins. So all in all, a successful run, and if you can't come away happy in the end, you can have your moment of, oh, we lost and we're out of the event, but now like, yeah, but it was a good event. Good event.